You know, we spend so much time thinking about software security. We've got our antivirus, our firewalls, we're constantly updating our apps. But what if I told you the real fight for our data, the most important battle, has moved somewhere we almost never look?
Just let this sink in for a second. This single sentence. This is the whole game. It's the one fundamental, kind of terrifying truth that underpins all of cybersecurity. And honestly, it's the one we forget about the most. This idea, it changes everything.
So, to really understand what's at stake here, we need to go deeper. We have to go below all the software we use every day and take a look at this hidden battlefield. And here's the shift, laid out plain and simple. Over on the left, you've got the usual suspects, right? Viruses, malware, bugs in our apps and operating systems. That was yesterday's fight. We got pretty good at it. But look to the right. That's today's battlefield. The fight has moved down, way down. We're talking attacks on firmware, the gut instructions of a device, on the physical memory chips themselves, and even on the silicon as it's being made and shipped around the world. Okay, so now we know where this new battlefield is. Let's talk about the weapons being used, because these attacks, this is what makes this new frontier so incredibly dangerous. First up is an attack called Rowhammer, and it's just wild. This isn't about finding a bug in the code, it's about exploiting the laws of physics. Imagine you're accessing one tiny row of memory cells over and over and over again, so fast that the electrical charge actually leaks into the row next door. And that leak is just enough to flip a bit, to change a critical 0 to a 1. It's like a digital ghost in the machine that breaks through security walls just by being, well, too close. Then you've got firmware attacks. Now, think of firmware as the set of instructions your computer reads to even know how to turn on. An attack here is like someone hijacking the actual blueprints of your machine. It gets control before your operating system, before Windows or Mac OS even starts to load. And the scariest part? Your antivirus is completely blind to it. Because it lives below the OS, you could wipe your entire hard drive, reinstall everything from scratch. And guess what? It's still there, waiting. And that brings us to the most fundamental threat of all. Hardware trojans and supply chain attacks. This is where malicious changes are physically, literally, built into a device's components while it's being made or shipped. Imagine a bad actor intercepting a shipment of computer parts and embedding a tiny, undetectable chip. The device you get works perfectly, except now it has a secret backdoor. The trust is broken before you even take it out of the box. Okay, I know, that all sounds pretty grim. So how in the world do we defend against threats that are literally part of the hardware? Well, let's shift gears from the problem to the solution. Let's look at how we build a digital fortress, right from the ground up. Building this kind of fortress really comes down to a few critical steps. First, you have to secure the boot process, making absolutely sure that only trusted, authentic code runs when you press the power button. Second, you establish what's called a root of trust. Basically, an unchangeable, permanent anchor in the hardware itself for all security to build on. Third, you cryptographically sign every single firmware update to prove it's legit. And finally, you have to protect the physical hardware itself with things like memory protection. And these are the tools we use to actually do it. Secure Boot is the technology that locks down that startup process. A Trusted Platform Module, or TPM, is that physical secured chip that acts as our unchangeable root of trust. And of course, signed updates and memory protections are like the digital locks and physical walls of our fortress. So, we've looked at the threats, and we've looked at the defenses. As we bring this all together, what's the one fundamental lesson here? What's the big takeaway?
The takeaway from all of this is, well, it's pretty brutal, but it's also crystal clear. We're right back where we started, but now this statement has some real weight, doesn't it? Your antivirus, your firewall, your encryption, your passwords, none of it matters. It all means nothing if the physical foundation that it's all built on can't be trusted. The whole house of cards just collapses. We've all been trained to think that security is about software. It's about the code we write and the apps we run, but that's not the whole picture. Not even close. Real security doesn't start there. It starts right here, with the actual, physical, tangible silicon chips that are the bedrock of our entire digital world. The trust has to be built in from the very beginning, at the deepest level possible.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. You get notifications to update your software, every day, all the time, right? But When was the last time you ever really thought about the security of the physical chips inside your phone or your computer? Because that's where the real battle is being fought now, and it's time we all